Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike coming at you with the Yolopark AMK series figures. Now, I'm a big fan of the AMK Pro series, which has diecast and a lot more paint than these. These are mostly plastic, unpainted plastic, and there's a little bit of paint apps here and there with them. But this will not be the AMK Pro series review. This is going to be an unprofessional series review. And I gotta say, there are things I like about these, and in some cases more than the Pro Series, and there's things that are drawbacks, and I'm gonna try to swap parts on Prime with the other Prime. You're gonna see how that goes, and this is probably the number one reason I even picked up the Prime, was to see if I could swap the parts and how I could make that work. But overall, pretty decent figures. I did get these at Showzy Store. I'm gonna link down below where you can get yours. Remember, TH and support your reviewer at the main screen. If you go to buy something there, helps the channel out. But let's get into looking at the non-pro versions, the standard AMK Yolopark action figures, model kits, coming up. Alright, so here is the packaging for this, and as I mess things up, there's the front. It opens up and you can see the parts in there. Same kind of build that we've already become used to or accustomed to. Not much going on the back. Just a bunch of writing, warnings. Then here we go with the Bumblebee, all of that stuff. Some inside flap stuff. And there we go. At this point, I really do feel like showing the build is a waste of time because we've done all this. We already know how it's done. It's just in order of plugging in. So I'm going to just accelerate this as extremely fast as possible to not waste people's time. But same thing that we always do when we do this. There's that. And we get a couple of hand options, I guess, as you go. Waist piece, that's the front waist piece, that's the back of the waist piece, and we assemble it this way. And what's the front, what's the back? Something like that. Easy stuff. Gets around the whole, is it really an action figure? No, it's not an action figure, it's a model kit, because you have to assemble it and do everything else on the other side. Alright, so here they are out of the package, and having these being the standard AMK instead of AMK Pro, I'm impressed with the colors, because I was scared there was no paint, that it would just look really cheap. I will say the Bumblebee looks a little bit less premium, but the Prime, the deepness, the richness of that red and the blues, and just white looking okay, it looks pretty premium. And the Bumblebee doesn't look too bad. Probably a little more on the cheap side with the yellow than what we kind of got with the Prime here. But very good looking figures overall, and better price point. I think they were like 40 each, so better price point than the Pro series. But all plastic, so they do feel plasticky. They don't have very much weight to them, but for that, I mean, I'm all about how they look on the shelf anyway, and yeah, looking pretty good overall. We will get into comparisons here in a little bit, but yeah, I'm actually pleasantly surprised with these. I was going to order the Megatron 2. I do not feel like I need the Starscream at all in this series because of the fact I think they had a Starscream offered, but the Starscream they did just nailed it the first go around. I would have liked some differences with the first Prime, and I think we get it all right here. Very, very good looking toon look going on. Since we've already done the Prime, let's go ahead and do the articulation with Bumblebee. So head's on a ball joint, so you get all of that. You can it'll move up a little bit to get down. I don't know, he's looking at a spike or something. Spike and spark plug. He does have some nice silver paint on his face, so it's not completely without a paint, but all of everything else is kind of just bare. It does have a symbol on there. Shoulder goes up to about there, Saturday Night Live kind of stuff. And there is articulation in that shoulder joint to give him a little bit more. So if you want his shoulders down lower, that's a thing you can do. It's spin it 360, 360 on the bicep swivel that plugs in, double jointed on the elbow. Hand is just, you get an option. You got a fist to plug in or a gun holding hand. I just left both gun holding hands in there, but because he's got one gun. Waist side to side, ab crunch to just to there. So not much of an ab crunch, but at least it's there. And then he goes 90 to the side, 90 to the front, 90 to the back, waist swivel. Probably could push that in a little bit more. So I don't know. I don't like that gap that's in there. I'm sure that's my fault for the gap. Maybe I could take it apart and engineer out the gap. Quite possibly. It's quite possible. Anyway, the knee, it's not double jointed, or if it is, it's not getting the full range of it, but it only goes to there. And then side to side, up and down on the foot. So pretty much decent articulation for an action figure. This is really what the red should have been. Now I do want to point out, don't need to go through his articulation again, but he has articulation in the hand with the 3 pinned, and then we got a pinned trigger finger here, and then an opposable thumb. So there is more articulation in Prime's hand, but similar articulation for the rest of this. So I am going to note I did have the waist on backwards. Engineered that out of there by following the instructions. Easy stuff. The other thing I want to point out, I didn't, because I did a really accelerated assembly, I didn't show putting these bumpers on the feet. But if you're wondering, where do these bumpers go on the feet? But anyhow, pretty good looking. Overall, pretty decent. Is he too big for Masterpiece? We're going to find out here because we're about to do some comparisons. All right, so doing some comparison here, you can get to see this is the Masterpiece Optimus Prime, this is the AMK version, and so on and so forth. Now, looking at these, will this work as a Masterpiece Bumblebee? And there's some questions. So this is the Masterpiece Bumblebee, which I still kind of feels a little bit short. Moving a few things around, would it work okay on your Masterpiece shelf? I think it'd be fine on a Masterpiece shelf. You know, what do you guys think? But aesthetically, is it what you'd want from a Masterpiece Bumblebee? I'm not sure. So there it is. Still, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to have this figure. I still like Takara's, but I'm sure eventually Fansway's going to put one out that blows Takara's away. Yeah, the Takara Masterpiece went away. But just size and scale with that. All right, so here we are with the rest of them, and Starscream really is being overshadowed by Megatron. But I think I might like the Megatron in a more tuned look than the gritty silver that they made him. So I might have to go back and dip on that one because I did pass on it. Remember, these do not have any die-cast metal in them. These do. These are weightier. And with that, I also did not get their Starscream because I just don't think you can improve on the Starscream at all. Like, it is perfect for me. Nothing in this world is perfect, but for what they're making, I don't think there's anything I can do to make it any better, any more tune. It's got the die-cast. It's got the correct coloration. The first go around, I can live with it. The Megatron, on the other hand, is just a little too dark for me. I would have liked him a little brighter, a little more cartoon-ish, cartoon-y, if that's what they're doing. So I might have to go back and get that one. I'm not sure. But let's get into Prime side by side. All right, so here they are side by side, and you get more of a cartoony torso here. This is a little bit more real world and gritty looking. I do like the cartoony look, but one of the things I will point out, the difference between the paint and the plastic is there is a bit of better sheen to the lower legs. So I would probably want to keep the lower legs. The upper body has got more, because it's painted, more of a sheen to it too. But there is a nice kind of glossiness going on over here. But yeah, it looks good. On one hand, I want to just mix them together and make one that I think is the best of the two. On the other hand, I want to keep them the way they are for lots of reasons. But I can't help myself. Let's mix it up. Alright, so my customizing didn't work out as well as I'd like. Because of the way it's engineered, designed, from this whole piece from the thigh down to here are the same piece. they're all connected. It's already pre-assembled. To take that apart would be more work than I feel like doing, and might break it. So there's a reason it's pre-assembled like that. And with that, this is the most you can really do for mixing and matching, and it just looks off. If you could have just swapped the waist and the thighs, I think it would have been a much better swap. But I'm gonna have to put it all back the way it was. It was nice. It was worth a shot. Let's just look at the back of it now. It's like this. He's dropping his gun. But it kind of gets down to this set. When you do the swapping, you see the things that you don't like about the set, which is the white joints, the white piece there, the white on the grill when it could have been a gray. I don't understand, but I think it's a cool looking figure, very tuned, but you could probably mix match. Probably easier to take a few pieces off this to put on this. I don't know yet, but mixing and matching is not going to work here like I thought. All right, so what do I think about these guys? I think that they are definitely some good-looking action figures for the price point. I think at $40, something that is cheaper than the Pro Series ones. Gives you better options. More of a tune look to the Prime. I don't like all of the white bits that they use for the joints. They should have integrated and stayed red. I do like a few things better about this. Definitely like the white waist piece a lot better. I like that. Not a fan of the grill and all that. The Bumblebee looks okay. Still, just in my mind, doesn't fit what I think of Bumblebee. Still too big of feet and that kind of stuff. I would have liked closer to maybe a Sunbow look. And it's a little bulky. But still, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. I'm keeping up with the series. I might go back and get that Megatron. I'm going to think about it. $40 is not really too much for something like this. But will it be better than the Megatron I have? I was hoping for more swappability, but I didn't have the swappability that I was able to accomplish in a way that in the fashion I wanted to. So that's kind of out for me. Maybe you liked the swapped look better, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you in on these? Do you collect these? Or are you still one of those that has to transform to be a Transformer? Like and subscribe. I did get this at Show Store, and I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours. Teddy Hanger out. How come nobody told me my butt was so big? And that it was on wrong for half the review.